Hello, welcome back to the Polis. I'm Matt. This is McKay. Today we're doing something a little bit different. It's a little bit special. We are doing a band draft. So we get six picks each, and the idea is to make our pretty much like our dream band. And we wanted to do this because with Linkin Park coming out with their new song that was archived, um, Linkin Park's played a big part in my life as it has in McKay's and people all around the world, and music is just hits home for a lot of people. Um, Chester left that hole in our hearts, and it's just not the same without him as it is for Taylor Hawkins, the drummer for Foo Fighters, who had passed away just a few months ago too. And so yeah, this is kind of in honor of them.
And to kind of touch on Matt's point about music touching all of our lives, you could be driving down the road listening to the radio and that certain song plays and it just hits and it strikes a chord. And whether it's related to whatever you went through in life or something you found meaningful within that song. A lot of these bands, even though we never meet them in person, sometimes they feel like they become some of our best friends because we listen to their music all the time.
Absolutely. All right. Do you want to go first for this?
Yeah, so the way we're going to do this is you got to come up with a band name, your genre of music that you guys are going to kind of do. You have to have a hit single. And then you're going to draft it in order of lead singer, backup vocals, lead guitar, bass guitar, keyboard player, or strings, drummers, and we're going to kind of go through that. Um, so I'll kick things off. So the band I'm kind of putting together is a cinematic rock slash alternative rock kind of group. Um, looking at science and technology related issues. We're called Tectonics. Our hit single is Eons, and if I could have this happen, it would be written by Mike Shinoda and Dustin Bates of Starset. And with that, I'm going to draft my lead singer, and I am going to draft Dustin Bates of Starset as my lead singer. I have met Dustin. He's a remarkable talent. A little kind of known fact about him is he actually has a background in science, which fits perfectly with the themes of the band. He did his bachelor's in astrophysics and a master's in astrophysics, and he was a PhD candidate in electrical engineering. He just never defended his thesis. So I feel that he could bring that scientific mindset to the band.
So my band is called well, we were joking about calling our single "This Is My Single." uh so right now that's what I'm going with for my single, just because I haven't completely decided for that. But my band name is called Held by the Reins. Uh it's pretty much the theme about it is overcoming that mental illness. And as I piece together my band, it'll explain more why. So my lead vocalist is NF, who is a Christian rapper. I have nothing bad to say about him. He is extremely talented. Every song he does is story. He does storytelling like no one else I've ever seen before. Um, he also has an amazing singing voice too, because he actually used to do gospel singing before he became a rapper. So my lead vocalist is NF.
All right, my back vocalist slash rap vocals is Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park. I feel like having him be the backup vocals to Starset's Dustin Bates would be a phenomenal mix. Because Starset has a lot of Linkin Park themes in their music, A lot of synths, a lot of keyboard within a lot of the music that Starset does. I think Mike would add to that. And I really like Mike's writing, and I think he would pair really well with Dustin's writing.
My second round pick is Halsey, and I chose her because her most recent album, "If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power," uh, she was writing during her pregnancy. So she's a very independent woman. She's extremely talented. So I feel like her vocals along with NF's would pair very well together.
On lead guitar, I am going to have Benjamin Burnley from Breaking Benjamin. He's the lead singer and guitarist for Breaking Benjamin. Ben has gone through hell and back in his life. He is a recovering alcoholic, for those that don't know any background about Breaking Benjamin. Um, and he's a phenomenal writer. I think he works with Dustin all the time. And matter of fact, Dustin and Ben did a cover of a song that Dustin's previous band did called Waiting for the Skies to Change. Originally, it was a Downplay song. Downplay was a band that Dustin came up with before he founded Starset. A lot of the Transmissions albums Starset has are all Downplay songs that got converted over to Starset songs. And I feel that he could lend a lot of good vocals alongside Mike Schneider and Dustin. And he is a phenomenal guitar player specializing in baritone guitar. So this would kind of be a more gritty style for this band. Dustin can play lighter guitar work, but I feel that the baritone would fit this a lot better.
Nice. My third round pick, uh, it might feel a little bit out there given who I chose for the vocalist, but I chose James Hetfield from Metallica because sometimes you just need that guy who just gives off the attitude of the show must go on, and he shreds on that guitar like nobody else. So that's who I chose for my lead guitar.
My bass guitar player, I was kind of torn. Um, because this is becoming a hybrid of Starset, Linkin Park, and Breaking Benjamin, I'm going to do Linkin Park's bass player, Dave Farrell, to be the bass player for Tectonics. I feel that he has the range where he could do a lot of the bass work that Breaking Benjamin has and Starset have, but he can also play keyboard. So that's another thing, because I want a lot of some of the electronics within this band, since it's science and technology themed.
Nice. My fourth round pick is for my secondary guitar, and I chose Dave Grohl for that. He is one of those musicians who is just honestly just well rounded and pretty well everything from singing in Foo Fighters. He was also the drummer for Nirvana in the 90s, and he's just a phenomenal musician and a human being. So that's why I chose him.
My drummer will be Adam Gilbert from Starset. Adam Gilbert has toured with numerous bands in the past before touring with Starset full time. I've met Adam. Adam is a great dude. Always friendly to fans. For that reason, I am selecting Adam. Adam does also run his own kind of drum line, which is called Drum Abuse. So feel free to check him out on that.
My fifth round pick, I my bass guitarist, I chose Jonathan Gallant, who is the bass guitarist for Billy Talent. And I've seen Billy Talent live performance twice, once in 2016 and once last year. It is an outstanding performance just all around. So that's why I chose Jonathan for my bass.
My last pick is a strings person. I was kind of torn with having either the cello or violin in this. I'm choosing violin. Everyone is expecting that I'm going to pick Lindsey Sterling. Wrong. I am not picking Lindsey Sterling. I'm picking Savon Richards. The reason I'm selecting her is I've seen her perform in person with Starset. She is a phenomenal violin player, and she's a really good human being. I've had one-on-one conversations with her. She is absolutely phenomenal human being and a string player.
My 6th round pick is for drums. I chose Jen Ledger, who's the drummer for Skillet. Similar to Starset, it's very rock kind of feel drums. She's a Christian drummer, which you don't really hear a lot of these days. She's very open about mental illness too, which I think is super cool. So that kind of concludes my band.
I feel like both of our bands hit on that mental illness theme pretty well.
Mhm.
Ben Burnley, struggled with alcoholism for a long time. And in fact, he has several health conditions that he's spoken openly about as a result of it.
Yeah, yeah. NF is very vocal about his mental health issues. Like he on his album Mansions, he talks about how he lost his mother to drug abuse and how he copes with depression and OCD and the whole thing. It's very interesting to hear about musicians who are open about it and how they cope with it using music to handle that.
Dustin has talked a lot about his mental health as well in the past. He doesn't really talk a lot about it, but he has opened up, and you actually hear a lot of it in a lot of the music he writes. And I think the song Eons would be a very good way for him to work with Mike Shinoda on, as a way not to talk, to kind of open up about it. Because Mike can touch on, what Chester went through. And I feel like Dustin and Mike would have a very similar chemistry to Mike and Chester.
It's fair. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the picks for my band. I do think James is a little out there maybe, but
A little out there, but I actually kind of like it. It's kind of like the show must go on type thing.
right. And it's funny because NF usually raps on like piano kind of strings and drums. So to hear, I want to see him rap with like hardcore, just shredding on that guitar, and I'm curious to see how that would be.
It would be kind of fun to incorporate some of the Mike Shinoda raps into kind of like a Starset kind of themed song.
Yeah,
I feel that would be kind of a cool way to do it as a back, but having him as kind of the backup vocalist to Dustin.
yeah,
I think I have 3 lead singers in this group, with Ben Burnley being the lead for Breaking Benjamin. Ben used to scream quite a bit. He doesn't anymore. One of his backup vocalists now does most of the screaming. But Dustin has a very good scream. I would like, if you were to do kind of like that alternative rock scream, Chester's way up here. Dustin's not too far behind.
mm. Yeah. Dave Grohl has a decent scream too, and he does kind of have like that. It's almost like grungy kind of scream. He got
Yeah.
so I guess I got 3 singers too. If he picks up that mic and if you listen to Pretender or that song Run, he kind of does that in there. Um, so yeah,
A good song, I think, to listen. I'm gonna kind of pick one song that we could kind of listen to from each band now, or kind of each musician. I'm actually gonna pick Dustin. And the song that I'm going to recommend for a lot of his vocal range is off of the latest record for Starset, um, Horizons, and it's called De-Evolution. The vocal range that Dustin has on that one song goes from like really, really low to really, really high, and in the middle, back to low, back to high, really quick. And he can actually hit those notes in really quick succession. So that's one song I'd recommend that people go listen to by Dustin of Starset.
Nice. I want to choose NF, but here's the thing. So, like I said before, like he's a very good storyteller. He recently came out with a song called Hope. It's the first track of his new album, which drops April 7th. So keep an eye out for that. You want to listen to that. But in that song, he makes several references to past songs from past albums. He talks about how uh, the song Mansion from the album Mansion is he talks about how his mind was like a mansion, how he's lost in there. It's dark, it's lonely. So he goes back to there. It has a callback to a song, is it Outcast, where he's like locked in a cage and he's looking for the keys. He has the map for Hope, which is the theme for the song Hope, where he has like the map and he's looking at his past self, who's kind of like directing him in circles, and he's holding the map. He's like, "Well, it says to go here." He's like, "Oh no, it's like it's all way over there." So he's battling with himself. Uh, so yeah, pretty much anything from NF, honestly, just give that a listen to. Strongly recommend it.
And on that bombshell, I think we're clear.
All right. I'll have this uploaded probably later in the week. Um, so yeah, check out those musicians, check out our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, comment, and
And comment with like, who would you do for your own dream band?
yeah. All right. This is Matt. This is McKay signing off from the Polis. Have a good one.